3 times the suspense, 3 times the danger, 3 times the terror. Welcome to my examination of Alien 3. This is a movie with divided feelings. You either love it or you hate it, but I'm just gonna say right off the bat, I don't believe Alien 3 is as bad as it seems to be. I believe this movie suffered a lot when it was in developmental hell, and it was at a huge disadvantage once they settled for the final movie. This movie went through lots of rewrites, various scripts, involving Hicks having a larger role, space commies, special armed forces boarding the Sulaco, finding our survivors from aliens. In another video, I may talk more about that stuff. There's so much in the developmental hell era of Alien 3 that I could talk about. Right out the gate, Alien 3 was going to be a tough movie to tackle, and this is mainly because of the fact that the cast was dialed back big time, and the series went back to its suspense roots. But did it capture it is the big thing. So where does our movie start out? Well, it really takes place not long after the events of Aliens. It's revealed that the queen alien had laid eggs on the Sulaco. Suddenly, a fire breaks out. This causes Ripley and company to crash land on a correctional facility called Fury 161. Our characters are recovered. Unfortunately, Ripley is the only survivor. So let's pause there real quick. We've got two things we got to talk about that causes some of the divide with this movie already. Lots of questions like how did the queen lay the egg on the Sulaco? Because in the last movie, we just saw her get off the dropship. She didn't have any time to actually roam around or to even lay the eggs. There just wasn't enough time to make any of that happen. A huge plot hole that has been beaten to death through the years. The next issue has to be the fact that we killed off characters that we grew to love in Aliens. This bothers me a little bit less due to the fact that Alien 3 is a bit darker in the tone. At least compared to Alien or Aliens, it kind of gives the idea that not all endings are happy. Moving on, ultimately the version of the movie you watch will differ the Xenomorph's birth. The theatrical version, it is birthed from Spike, the inmate Murphy's dog, versus the assembly cut, where the Xenomorph is birthed from a dead ox. The two versions are actually pretty drastically different. In fact, there are certain scenes I can just think of off the top of my head that are altered. There's some missing dialogue at certain points for certain scenes. And at the very end of the theatrical version, we have the chest burster is bursting out of Ripley's chest. In the other version, it never happens. So from here, I'll say something positive about Alien 3. The movie places Ripley in a dangerous spot that's further than just a xenomorph. She can't trust the inmates, who are known to be violent, and Ripley's presence has disrupted the harmony, adding temptation, considering the men in the correctional facility are all significantly dangerous. Eventually, Ripley assumes the worst. She believes there may be a xenomorph on board and has them check Newt's body. She knows the situation will be no different if she explains the xenomorph to them, and they're going to assume that she is crazy, just like when she was debriefed. Not only is this an issue, but it's revealed that Ripley is carrying the next queen. Because of this, the xenomorph refuses to harm her, and it is eventually mutually agreed between the spiritual leader, Dylan, that after they kill the xenomorph, he will kill Ripley, ending it all. The overall fear of Ripley is knowing the company will want to obtain the queen by any means necessary for their bioweapons division. It's not about saving Ripley. It was crew expendable, Marines were killed, so nothing matters here, except the mission. The tones of this movie are very different in certain spots, and it adds the element of religion to it, with the prisoners finding their faith, as said before, temptation. Some of them have stories, but none of them feel really fleshed out compared to the characters in the movies beforehand. So that's one of the drawbacks of this movie, unfortunately, but I feel like the ending is built up well, given Ripley has to make a choice, even if it means sacrificing her own life. She has been through so much, and so much has been lost from Alien to Alien 3. She's ready to die, even if it means keeping the creature out of the company's hands, the creature they can't control. This is the first movie that also introduces a hybrid alien, that being the ox alien, runner alien, dog alien, whatever you want to call it, it's all the same really. This is the only movie this variation has appeared in. The design dials back some of the design further, making it more fleshy compared to the counterparts in the first two movies. It's not bad in my opinion. The design doesn't go too crazy, it makes the creature easier to identify from the other xenomorphs. For all I know, they could have went crazy and gave the xenomorph a look that was kind of like the dog from The Thing. Fortunately, they didn't rip off the iconic piece. However, there was a design that was left on the cutting table. Yes, legendary H.R. Giger was set to return. His design was the Panther alien, which returns more back to the erotic undertones which were dropped from the last movie. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little salty this design was left unused, and the undertones would have added to the creep factor of this movie. A more erotic look, detail to the lips, tongue, even to the point there was supposed to be a version of the movie where there was going to be a kiss of death in the Vincent Ward script. You use your imagination. If this design was used in the movie, it would have been beautifully horrifying. I do like this movie, but there's so much that was left unused and it could have been more impactful. At least the Queen facehugger kind of made the movie. In the end, the movie gives a sad feeling seeing Ripley end it all, but it's also comforting knowing the nightmare is over of what she lived. Our acting is kind of odd in certain spots, I'm sorry, but this scene just makes me think of Marv from Home Alone. If you watch this movie, please watch the assembly cut. There's more to take from it, and I believe the ending is far more impactful, leading up to Ripley's death sequence. Because of the lack of star power and the creatures for the most part, Alien 3 doesn't offer a lot from Neca. However, it doesn't mean this movie's toy line was shortchanged. Kicking things off, we had the dog alien, which was first released in Series 3. Small note, fortunately they added a stand for this figure, and I feel like every xenomorph should require one. They're tough to stand, you have to wrap their tails around each other, and if you pull one out of your collection, they all fall down. They are sold separately, but I feel like each figure needs them packaged with them by default. The same mold was later reused in Series 8 with a gray and brown tint version. Random re-release, most likely because of the fact that Neca was trying to make money off the mold, rather than allowing it to be one and done. This also allowed another opportunity for collectors to get the figure that may have missed out on in Series 3. I need to note that I modified my dog alien a little bit by making a cut behind the neck. It always bothered me this figure didn't allow the runner to look forward as if it was running in motion. Years later, it was released again in the Ultimate line, this time with the first ever Queen chestburster, plus a 3D version of the Queen from the movie poster. The issue with the neck was also remedied fortunately. Spotty paint apps were fixed, and overall the Ultimate version is much more appealing, easy to articulate in certain spots, and this is kind of a common error for NECA collectors that we deal with. Ripley was released in her uniform. Oddly enough, NECA chose to have removable arms on her, which was great. You could remove the vest in that sense. I'm really shocked in retrospect NECA didn't release this in 2 versions. Possibly because of the fact this is the least profitable version of Ripley. I firmly recall this was a shelf warmer. When I worked at Hastings Entertainment, during liquidation, we had shelves full of Ripley's engineers for like $4. The Weyland Yutani Commando soldiers are another figure I would love to have in bulk from this movie, but it spaced my collection because my budget wasn't the same as it is today. My focus was just on owning Ripley and the dog alien predominantly from this movie. So, where there is few creatures and characters that are marketable, NECA did have a release that did surprise me. A pack of the Bambi Burster, Spike the dog featuring 2 heads and a queen facehugger, and a juvenile queen. I don't really know the story behind this figure. I've searched for concept art. I don't know if it's something that NECA created to add to the pack. If anyone knows the story, please inform me. I'd really love to know it. Overall, it's a fun pack and it just helped take this movie a bit further. So what's left for NECA to release? For my sake, I'd love to see a Commando and Bishop from Alien 3, a 2-pack preferably. I have no idea why this isn't a thing, even if it was released as a San Diego Comic-Con release or a limited Walmart run, just like NECA has been doing in recent years. Finally, it's a long shot, but I would love to see the H.R. Giger Panther alien. Rather than the typical sliding out tongue, I prefer there be a different approach for this head, mainly for what they did for the Neomorph, where it'd be an alternate sculpt that you could just pop on. The design would be a treat for fans, and it would be an amazing way to pay tribute to the legendary H.R. Giger. I know the chances are low, but tell me, would you purchase such a figure? Leave your thoughts in the comment section, and thank you for watching.